Welcome to the next episode of the AfterHours Podcast. In today's episode, me and Frankie talk to Greg Rodriguez about his time with the Oak and Ivy experience. Now, this is definitely the go-to place if you're looking for a good time in Vegas. Not only will they make you a great drink, but they'll also let you know where all the hot spots are in the area for having a good time. Sit back, get comfortable, and grab a cold one with the boys for another AfterHours interview.
What's going on, guys?
Hello. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, nothing too much. Just starting to enjoy summer a little bit.
I know. Yeah, finally. I'm more of a, I love the heat. I'm not too keen to the cold, so this type of weather is perfect for me.
Yeah, that's great. And you're from Las Vegas, so I'm sure that that helps being around the warm weather all year, right?
All year long. This is, I think Vegas has the perfect seasons, honestly. Like the winters are not too cold, and we have hot ass summers, man. I love it.
What's the temperature range? I'm curious.
Well, right now, the next couple months is going to be above 100 degrees. Like today, the high is 109, I believe. And it's kind of tame, actually. Not even that high. 106, pretty good day. Like a couple days ago, it was up to like 112, 113. Yeah, it gets pretty hot.
Yeah, my man said it's not even that hot. It's only 106. We're from Ohio, so I mean the warmest it's here is like what 98 maybe.
Yeah, it might have been 100 like once or twice.
Yeah, but
see, but you guys have the humidity though. The humidity is brutal.
That's definitely true. Yeah, it's a little more damp here in Ohio.
I know I'm from Vegas, but I'm originally from Miami, Florida, so I completely understand that that weather, man. It's I like it out here.
for sure. How did you get into the food and beverage industry?
It was honestly by accident. I used to play a little bit of Division II football, and I got hurt lifting weights up there. So I kind of had to tell I was on a partial scholarship. I wasn't any good, to be honest. But I called it quits for my football career, and then like I had a cousin just hit me up all of a sudden, like, "Yo, I need you. Like, do you need a job right now? Like, I can get you a job right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. What do you need me?" And she sent me an address to this Irish pub in downtown Miami. I know, weird. I showed up and I started working. I was a busboy. I met the owner of the spot. He's like, "All right, man, you'll start tomorrow." And that was about 10 years ago, 2010 now. And little by little, I started working myself up and doing different positions. I became a bar back, and then I started bartending, and everything changed from there. Like, it's just, I felt like I started bartending. I'm like, oh, I'm really comfortable doing this. I love this shit. Since then, I've kind of dig deep into the rabbit hole of bartending and cocktail making and creations and all of the above, and kind of been obsessed with it.
Awesome. What's your favorite thing about it?
There's different things about it. I love the amount of people I get to meet every day. Just being behind the bar, there's something to just having people come in and relaxing at your bar and just telling you stories of where they're from or how the day's been going. So there's a lot of interaction with guests, and I appreciate that a lot. There's something to meeting new people every day. And honestly, the process of making drinks. So I have in my head little steps that I do every time I make a round of drinks or a single cocktail. And that whole process is like, you got to be disciplined within that process and got to make sure you stay true to your like core values when you're making a drink. And all of that is just incredibly like just obsessive with me. I like to be as in control as possible when I'm behind the bar, and just make sure that people are having fun and that I have a large scope of what's happening in the room.
Right on. Do you have any signature drinks that you've created yourself?
Ooh, we create a lot of drinks where I work at. We do have some signature drinks. I've made quite a few for cocktail competitions, but one drink I always like to bring up when it comes to signature drinks, and I honestly believe it might be the most memorable drink here in Vegas. We have a drink in our bar called Apple Pie Harvest, and it's a apple whiskey sour with like a deconstructed apple pie that we make a la minute with a torch and everything. So we're basically creme bruleeing this awesome Granny Smith apple slice with like a little piece of butter, some brown sugar, there's some nutmeg and cinnamon. So it's a really delicious cocktail that I always love making, because people they enjoy drinks, but they will never see something like this. So it's always cool to see them bring out their phones, take pictures, videos, and just be in awe of this drink. So I think that's in my opinion one of the most memorable drinks you can get here in Vegas when you come and visit. And it's the signature drink for the bar. Like I love making that drink.
That sounds really good, and I've never seen that on any menu anywhere. So I'm sure that gets some booze and
Come
ahs
to
from the
Vegas,
crowd.
man. We can make it happen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm dying to come out.
Oh, I know, man. It's I can't wait to have you guys out here for sure. Hopefully soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we can travel, that's the big issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, once things start to clear up. Sure.
Yeah, because we've had some bar owners on and some other guests that were north of the border, and they're like, oh, like when are you guys gonna come through? It's like, shit, man, like we can't even cross the border right now.
We can't even cross the Ohio border.
Right.
No. Because it's closed off right now. The border is closed off in Canada. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's definitely been tough, but you got to stay optimistic, right? Like it's one of those things where you just got to keep it together and keep control of everything that's going on.
Yeah, for sure. That's it's always tough because we meet all these cool people like doing podcasts or just through work or networking events or whatever, and it's just like, damn, like it's gonna be a hot minute before we can actually come and see y'all or anything like that. So balancing like the mental struggle with also the social validation and stuff like that, it's been a struggle for everybody.
Yeah, and also like even for bartenders specifically, like one thing I've been really contemplating recently and talking to friends of mine is like it's an industry where we work a lot, honestly, and we just never have the time off to decompress, to look for other hobbies. We're constantly on, so like even something with all this time off, and like I know people that have been struggling a little bit more than usual, dude, because it's just tough. You're by yourself. There's you're not doing your regular routine, and it's definitely it's putting a lot in perspective for me, and try to reach out to friends and do as much as you can, right, within the situation you have. But it's been a little tough for sure.
In a normal circumstance, in a normal world without COVID, how much time would you say that you spend at Oak and Ivy?
Ooh, so I'm the bar manager over there. I'll probably do about 50 hours average a week. Sometimes less. Like I know some bar managers that are working a lot. But like for me, I'm kind of lucky, man. Like I have a sweet spot that I run. It's a tiny little spot, which has its advantages and disadvantages, but it's sometimes I work a little bit more than usual. Sometimes I don't, which is I'm very, very lucky, but about like 50 hours a week, honestly.
That's fair. And like you said, being in the food and beverage industry, you really are always going. Even if you're not specifically at the bar, you're always doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Contacting other people, in correspondence or thinking of new drinks or menu items, feel free to elaborate on that as well.
I'm not bartending right now, man, and I have people hitting me up all the time. Like you get brands hitting you up all the time, like, "Hey, man, like, can we collab on something?" I'm like, "Well, the bar's closed. I'll hit you up after we're open." This and that. So, like, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. Bartenders tend to work a lot, even outside of it, and a lot of it is because we're very passionate people. Like, man, I tell people all the time, like, it's just you gotta love this shit to be a part of it. Like it's just one of those things where you got to be very, very passionate. You got to work very hard to stand out. And so, man, outside of work, you're always thinking about R&D and what flavor combinations are great together. Oh man, I got falls coming up. I got to start thinking about fall cocktails. So you keep yourself busy for sure. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, man. Like I'd rather be thinking about that than other things. But you're constantly working.
You mentioned that fall, you have to start thinking of new creative drinks that fit with the atmosphere. What is the strategy or the preparation that goes into preparing drinks on a seasonal basis?
Staying ahead of time. So I would think of, like, right now we're supposed to release a summer menu, but we got shut down. But I'm already thinking about fall, to be honest, and I'm a little behind. Like you should think about your next menu, like at least two if you're really, really organized, like a quarter before, have like some rough notes of what you want to do. And to be honest, like you just have to have a couple, like you just got to know what you want to put in your menu. So if you want a thematic menu, start thinking about ideas about fall a couple months behind, because then you could thresh that idea out and start adding different flavors and what can work with that. And maybe I'm inspired by this song or this story and whatnot, and develop it through. At Oak and Ivy specifically, we do a seasonal menu. We're very seasonally driven, but it's more of a collaborative effort. So all the bartenders get to submit drinks. I believe more in community things. So everyone, we have servers submit drinks if they want to, barbacks, bartenders, everyone that works there has an opportunity to submit something, or to even come to me or come to the staff and talk about, hey, this is the idea that I got going on. I want to use these flavors like maple syrup or apple butter or something like that, and we kind of help them out through that. So I know a lot of bars will use very thematic menus for that. We tend to just think about flavors and what can blend together, what can taste really good within the confines of the produce we can get during the season and what we got going on.
What would you say is the most unique or like the weirdest drink you've ever had submitted?
Oh, well, so one of our drinks that we actually put on our spring menu about a couple of years ago, one of our bartenders, Eric, he's incredibly talented and smart bartender, puts a lot of thought into his drinks. And we always come up with a lot of crazy ideas for drinks, but he specifically had a variation on a drink called a Trinidad Sour. This Trinidad Sour is unique because you use about an ounce of Angostura bitters, ounce and a half. So it's unique because you're using a non-traditional cocktail ingredient, or a traditional ingredient that as a main spirit. So bitters as your main spirit. It's a little weird, and he decided to add a little peated scotch. So it's a lot of flavors that are out there, but when you put them together, I just couldn't believe how good it was. I was like, whoa, you just had this deep, smoky, rich, like just daiquiri in front of you. That was insane. Simple to make, but unique ingredients and just weird recipe for those ingredients. Typically, I'll use like 4 dashes max in my old fashioned of Angostura bitters. Now he came to me like, no, it's about an ounce. And I'm like, man, that's gonna be expensive. But it worked out beautiful. And regardless of that, like we've been playing a lot with like clarification. So we'll do milk punches all the time. So that can get a little weird because people can be off put by hearing, wait, milk clarification? What does that mean? So it's a good opportunity to just kind of veer into that world. And, let me come follow me, man. Let's talk about cocktails right now and just introduce them to a different world. But it's fun, man. It's fun at the end of the day. The weirder, the better, man. Like, even if I'm thinking about, oh man, this is, because as a bar manager, man, I'm always thinking about how expensive these are gonna cost, and we're gonna make sure this is below that. Man, I'm that person. But my bartenders, they bring me back to the earth, and they're like, dude, it tastes good, dude. I'm like, okay.
That's good. A little yin and yang. That never hurts.
Oh, for real, man. And we'll do weird stuff. Like, dude, I remember I did a cocktail with Greek yogurt last spring also, and it was incredible. Like, but it was a tough sell for some people. They're like, Greek yogurt, and I'm literally telling them, like, are you allergic to it, or do you have any? No, I can. It's a little weird. I'm like, just try it, please. Like, it's amazing. So I knew it was a really good cocktail, so I could really push it on people. But I knew I was confident on that one. The Greek yogurt was incredible, though.
Would you say you have a pretty strong relationship with your customers, in the sense that if you recommend a drink, and even if it sounds kind of weird, like Greek yogurt, they'll still try it because they know your rep, they know what Oak and Ivy's about?
That's one of the cool things about Oak and Ivy. So we're located like in downtown Las Vegas. It's a touristy area, like most of Vegas, So we're lucky to get a lot of people from around the world. A lot of our regulars are out of towners, man. They'll come like 3 to 4 times a year. Like, one of our really good regulars, she's from Portland, Oregon. Me and a couple of the crew from our bar, we went and visited her last year in Portland, and it was awesome, Like, she's like, oh yeah, I'm the regular in Vegas. And people were like, what? You go to Vegas that much? Yeah, man, I love it. So it's always cool. And the one thing about it is they really trust us. Like, man, it's hard to find any cocktail bar. Well, there's very few cocktail bars where you can go and the guests just completely trust the bartender. it's hard to find, to be honest. Like there's some spots you can find them, but if you're not in the cocktail industry, it's hard of like for a regular person, they're not necessarily aware of these spots. So man, we got our guests come in there, and like I have a guest of mine, he comes in and all he says is just booze, Greg, like make me whatever, man. And they know it might be different, but they're so open to try anything that's new from us. They know we care about it. We're gonna serve them responsibly, and we're passionate about it. So they know it ain't gonna be no BS. You know, like we're gonna try at least. If that's the least we can do, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram and also your website and your drinks. There's not one that looks bad. Like if you recommended any of them, I'd be like, hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Thank you. And dude, we get guests all the time that'll show me pictures of like menus, and I'm like, oh man, that was a long time ago. I don't remember that recipe. Hold on, give me a second. So like, we'll get it all the time. We definitely had a lot of talented bartenders, a lot of talented bartenders. So I've been lucky, man, to be honest, to be working specifically in that spot in this city. Like we've had a lot of good bartenders come through that bar. So like I know for a fact, no matter who's been there or who was it that you got a drink from, you probably got something that they cared about. You know, that's essentially what matters the most. Like if we care about it, man, it's going to be a good drink.
Absolutely. And you guys mentioned that you guys are in downtown Las Vegas and that you guys do get a lot of tourists, maybe not people that are native to Nevada. Do you guys want to talk about the downtown container park that you're a part of?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Container Park has been open almost 7 years now this year. And it was an initiative to revitalize downtown Las Vegas. It was in one of the greatest areas before the Container Park was there. Not for me personally. Like I wasn't living in Vegas back then, but from everyone that I've heard, man, it wasn't pretty, you know. So the opening of the Container Park was just one part of it from Downtown Projects. That's the company that owns the bar in the Container Park. They've done an awesome job of just helping grow that community, and I honestly believe it's become a community. There's a downtown community now here in Vegas, and there's this thing too, man. We have our own vibe. We like our own music. There's something to downtown that's just a little bit different than anywhere else, and it particularly like just drives me in. Like I love everything about downtown, which is awesome, especially Oak and Ivy, of course. But inside of the Oak and Ivy, this year's going to be 6 years old. It's been kind of great, man, to see that little bar grow. Because it's a tiny bar, man. We have about like 10 seats inside of it, you know, and it's inside of a shipping container. And the container park is an awesome park with small businesses built out of shipping containers. So it's a great family establishment to go with your family, which is another awesome thing, you know, like a lot of people, and it's not the most family friendly city, you know, like dubbed the Sin City in Las Vegas, but little by little, you know, there's a massive community here of people that work in the strip or outside of the strip. People ask me all the time, do you live on the strip? And I'm like, no, man, Vegas is pretty big. It's expansive. There's a lot of cool things to do around there. So the fact that there's a family like spot where you can bring your family during the afternoon, during the day, awesome park for the kids. We have a stage. Usually they do an awesome job of entertainment there. And it's just a little unique and different. Like even people out of town come and they've never seen anything like it. And it's pretty cool. Like imagine you walk into a shipping container park, you have your kids there, and as parents, man, you get that opportunity. You're like, man, I wish I could have an old fashioned, something really delicious. And you look up, yeah, man, there's an amazing whiskey bar with inside of a shipping container that can make you amazing cocktails. And that's the cool thing about it, man. People go there, they're relaxing. They're honestly enjoying their vacation. Their kids are having fun in the little park. It's safe. And you're getting dope ass cocktails from these crazy bartenders in there. So it's very, I'm incredibly optimistic about downtown Las Vegas in general, just because there's just putting a lot of care to it. Right now, there's a whole project called Project Enchilada, in which they're just making downtown Las Vegas more walkable for our guests. But we get a ton of guests in here, and I know a lot of our guests, they come and tell us they like downtown better than Strip. So I don't know, man. There you go, Strip. I'm kidding. I'm like hating on the strip right now. Nah, man, like downtown Las Vegas is pretty awesome. And I honestly, I'm very happy to be a part of that community and to know all the awesome bartenders and enjoy all the amazing bars that are around there.
So would you say, does it get pretty packed at Oak and Ivy?
Yeah. Before COVID, man, like one of our busiest Patty's Day is usually pretty busy for us, and March Madness. And we're so close to everything on Fremont. You got the Fremont Experience, East Fremont, and then the container part. But we'll get pretty busy, man. It surprises me all the time. Like it's a really tiny bar, and for some people it might not be. Like I consider it a little bit of a high volume spot for the space that we have, the environment that it is. Like it's an American whiskey bar and full cocktail bar, man. We'll make you Rainbow's Gin Fizz. Like what do you want? You want like Brooklyn's, we can make it. Like Mai Tai, you want like a missionary down. Like you can throw us pina colada. We can honestly make every single classic that you have. I almost have 500 spirits behind the bar, so we can go pretty deep in it. But we're pumping out drinks incredibly fast. You gotta be a really good bartender to work there. The service is a little bit different, but it's unique. It's very unique to any of our guests, and yeah, man, like we can pump out a lot of drinks. It gets pretty busy in that small of a bar, but it's fun. That's the fun thing about it. Like we at least me personally, and I think I can vouch for the rest of the bartenders that work there. I try to have as much fun as possible. Like if I'm working there, I want people to really enjoy their time, and so let's just have a party. And obviously, like as a bartender, there's a responsibility to all of that. I feel incredibly responsible for that. That's one reason we don't drink behind the bar. I like to make sure that we're all on top of our game from the time we clock in till we clock out. And you can still have fun without even enjoying drinks with your customers and whatnot. I think that's a big misconception within our industry. Like, oh no, I got to drink to be good at my job. Nah, man, we got to talk after work if that's your answer, man. Like we got to have some deep talk right now, man. That ain't a good answer. But like you can have a ton of fun even without drinking behind the bar and just making sure you maximize that time for your guests, because a lot of our guests, they come to Vegas to really enjoy the time. So I always take that into consideration when it comes to our guest experience.
That's great, and it reassures me, just as a person that likes to go out to bars, that you have the best interest at mind for the guests. Like you said, most people that are visiting, they probably are tourists, and it's going to mean a lot, that first impression that you make. So you can't have a bartender that's just shit faced.
Oh no, yeah, man, and you're right about that, man. You get like, I honestly think it's important, and it really means a lot. Even like when I go out to drink. Man, like I usually don't go get cocktails everywhere, but if I know the bartenders there, I know that they make good stuff. I'll get a cocktail, and I know they're gonna take care of me. And that's the one thing I want to make sure our guests know. Like we're gonna take care of you, man. Like just chill, you'll be fine. We'll help you out. And yeah, man, people come from out of town, dude. They don't know this area, like they come to Vegas, and dude, you're from a different city, man. You don't know Vegas, like you can get lost easily, and you might need, it can be scary sometimes. So just making sure you're on top of your guests, give them suggestions, let them know, hey, don't walk around this area. Or, it's just be their buddy, man. Be their buddy.
You're like the unofficial tour guide of Las Vegas.
Dude, you got to, man. It's competitive out here, dude. I tell bartenders all the time, man, you got to know everything. If somebody asks you a question, make sure you're on top of your game, dude. Especially, dude, if somebody asks you, what's a good steakhouse? Like, especially here in Vegas, dude, there's so many good steakhouses, dude. Like, all right, where do you want to go, man? Are you staying on the strip, downtown? Or like, where you want to go off the strip? You want to go somewhere in the casino? Oh, man, you could go forever. So a lot of suggestions, and always support the homies. Like, I always support bars that I like to go enjoy libation beverage from, So like out here in Las Vegas, the Sand Dollar is one of those spots. Like, you want some blues bar live music, go to the Sand Dollar. You want an awesome steak at 3 a.m. with an amazing cocktail, go to Herbs and Rye, So there's spots where you can go, man, and there's a lot of spots here in Vegas, dude. Like you want dive bars? Vegas might be, and I know like in Ohio, there's some really rad ass dive bars. Actually, you guys have some pretty dope dive bars, but Vegas has some ultimate dive bars, dude. Like, what type of dive bar you're looking for? You're like, wait, there's categories to this? And yeah, man. Do you want a punk dive bar? Like, what type of dive bar do you want? You want like a regular neighborhood one? So there's a lot of stuff to do here, and Like if you're here to party, drink, and eat good food, dude, like come to me, man. I'll give you all the recommendations, dude. Like I will.
That's my first stop in Vegas is coming down to Oak and Ivy. And then I know you won't steer me wrong.
Hell yeah.
What would you say is your least favorite part of operating a bar?
You know what? I don't feel like there's anything that bad. Sometimes it's just sometimes like the bar I'm a little limited by space. So there's certain things where I'm like, I kind of want that tool, but I'm like, no, I can't spend like $4,000 on a centrifuge. I can't do that. But oh man, I don't know, dude. That was the hardest. That's a pretty tough question because I particularly love everything about bartending. There's obviously stressful parts like communication within like your reps or getting a liquor order. A lot of times, I'll tell you what it is. A lot of times it's just time management, man. Sometimes you might have a tough day and you got way too many people asking for you. Like they want to work with you on something. They want to try to sell you something. So it can bog you down a little bit, but it ain't that bad, dude. Like I could be doing a lot worse work-wise. Like I have a pretty fun gig. You know what, man? I guess you know what's something that can get pretty challenging is creative work. To be honest, it's hard to get and like motivated sometimes to create it. Like creating a lot of cocktail, and I'm not trying to complain about it, but it can get a little daunting. Like trying to stay on top of the game and trying to be innovative. Like, dude, I can get on Instagram rabbit holes looking at like cocktail bars in Barcelona or like in Shanghai or in Australia. I'm like, man, these guys are kicking ass. Like, wow, I thought we were doing cool. Nah, man, these guys are beating our butts, So like, I try all the time to try to stay on top of trying to be as innovative as possible. And sometimes it can't be that viable, and sometimes you just got to be simplistic about certain things. So I would say it's hard to get motivated sometimes creatively.
That's fair. I think we all go through that struggle of having like a mental block some days, or especially creativity. I'm not the most like artistic or abstract thinking in that sense. So I definitely understand those struggles from a creative side.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, how do I get to so? But yeah, man, and it's hard too because you might think something is pretty creative, but you don't know if it's gonna vibe with someone else, And the one thing about cocktails, you want to make sure it's approachable and not over the top. Like you got to know your clientele pretty well and know who you're dealing with because, man, you don't want to put a cocktail with like a Spanish whiskey and I'm using this infused aperitivo from like Hungary. Like there's a lot of explaining and it might be cool in some settings, but like in specific settings, it might not work. So balancing all of that out can be challenging for sure.
You talked about the rabbit holes that you could go down on social media, going on Instagram, and you can find, pretty much anything at the palm of your hand. How do you think social media, I would say specifically Instagram, how does that influence your work or Oak and Ivy? Just because from what I've seen, everything on there just looks unreal. So that's my question.
Well, we have an amazing team. Our PR team does a wonderful job with social media and just engaging us, the staff, particularly with cocktail creation. They're always on top of me. They're like, yo, when is the next cocktails coming out? We're excited to shoot them. They have themes to it seasonally. So that it's pretty awesome because it's very collaborative within us. It's a great team building activities. Like the one thing about social media that I will say is like it really teaches you different skills for the bar and bartender, and it gives us different ideas of what to work in. So obviously with social media, like photography skills are very important. It's just presentation when it comes to the cocktail. Having all of that in mind, people don't go to a website as much as they go to someone's Instagram page. So just curating that page to what exactly the feel of the bar is incredibly important for our guests, for our staff, for anyone, man. Like people are all constantly for ways to reach us personally. Like we got a ton of our guests reach out through social media with us. So it's important to stay on top of your game with that and be interactive and engaging with your post. And just be true to yourself. Honestly, it's just have the personality of the bar. I feel like every bar has a personality, and the people that work it are the ones that really establish that personality for the bar. So I always try to have a little personality to there. Me personally, skill wise, I've learned a ton of just how to manage a brand. Let's just say that's a good way of putting it. And man, I'll tell you what, man. I was one of those bartenders like, nah, like I'm true, I'm true to this game. Forget social media and this and that. But it's beneficial just to know how to brand yourself and your bar. Especially like for me, I aspire to be a bar owner at some point in my life. So knowing how to brand your bar and how to execute that, like I have a lot of admiration to certain bar owners around the country because sometimes, man, they don't have the budget to like have a PR company, which and they have to do it themselves. So I just see all the work that they put through in, and they really curate their page to what their bar is, and it's pretty cool just to see that. And it's a part of the business that I personally appreciate because I get to learn about different parts of our industry and marketing and branding and just another aspect that I just wasn't aware of in general. But yeah, man, even myself, I try to approach my social media page with how can it benefit my career? How can I get people to come and visit me more? That's the way I look at it.
For sure. And you touched on it there as well. It's that even though you're in a food and beverage industry, there's so many moving pieces behind the scenes that like, people don't think about. Like you said, marketing, brand identity, social media. Are there any other aspects to the food and beverage industry that you think get overshadowed that people should know about?
I feel, man, like a really cool cocktail bar, they take everything into consideration. Some people just got to appreciate that a little bit more. And a good way of explaining it is like just knowing about just a little bit about cocktails, just trusting your bartender in general, man. Like I have a lot of people that come to the bar and not that they don't trust me, they're just a little apprehensive for any suggestions that I'll do. So I'm like, man, if you know the spot is really good, just trust your bartender. They won't set you wrong. But yeah, man, just appreciating classic cocktails. I think in general, like there's something to enjoying classic cocktails. Like people don't necessarily have to have a custom drink by a bartender all the time. To be honest, man, they're not all that great. Like there's a reason why these classics are trusted and tried for now almost 100 years, over 100 years for sure. And I honestly think, man, if you make me a perfectly made daiquiri, that's better than anything, dude. Like a fresh shaken daiquiri. If you know how to perfectly make one, dude, like it can change people's lives. I honestly say that, man. Like you can really inspire someone to do that. And I'm being a little dramatic, but it's the truth, dude. The best drink I had last year was a daiquiri by a bartender out here, and he shook my ass, dude. I was like, "What the heck is this, man?" But I'm a cocktail geek, dude. Like I enjoy all that type of stuff. But yeah, appreciating more of the classics, dude. Just trust your bartender every once in a while.
Yeah, whenever I go to, an upscale restaurant or I go to like a nice cocktail bar or anything like that, the first thing that I say is, what's your favorite drink? Or like, what do you recommend? That's usually a really good opener whenever I sit at the bar. It's just a good way to start chit-chatting with the bartender, pick his brain a little bit, and just learn more about the establishment.
Yep. And it's cool, dude. Like, it's one of those things where, man, you sit at a bar and you get the chit-chat and like plug the bartender's brain a little bit, man. Oh man, that experience can get more engaging. Like you can honestly create a really good friend out of that. And I've created like awesome regulars that become really good friends of mine just from like geeking out on cocktails. Or like I'll have someone come in and be like, "Hey man, can I get a Vieux Carré?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know what a Vieux Carré is? Ooh, all right, let's go do this." Like the next round I'll suggest them something else, and it goes down that rabbit hole, man. And it's a lot of fun. To be honest, like it really is. That's why I love bartending, dude. It's just a ton of fun, honestly.
And you started bartending, well, I guess you started in the food and beverage industry in Miami, and then you later moved to Nevada. Mm-hmm. Do you notice a distinct difference between the two cities?
Oh yes, yeah. It's pretty different, man. Like bartending in these two cities, it's a little bit different because I was cocktailing in Miami, but I was like starting to. It's a little bit different. Like there's similarities, but it's pretty different. When I left Miami, man, like cocktails was not a thing, man. Like it was. If your bar didn't carry Grey Goose or Johnny Walker Black Label, like there might be a riot starting, and it's changed a little bit. but it's just different people. Like I feel you get a different set of regulars here in Vegas than in Miami. Miami's it's a pretty big party town. And not to say, I mean, obviously Vegas is, but I feel like Vegas can be a little bit more tamer than Miami. Miami can get wild, dude. I'm not going to lie, dude. I've seen some crazy stuff happening in that city that you were like, wow, this can't happen anywhere else, right? Like, this was happening. So I think Miami can be a little bit more intense party-wise. People can go super hard. You can see it out here, but in downtown, it's a little bit different, to be honest. You won't see people go as crazy as in the Strip. But there's, man, it's just people can get pretty gnarly in Miami, man. I'm not going to lie.
Do you have any stories that you remember from Miami of any crazy things that happened or went down?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to tell you, I always tell people this story. I almost got in a fight with Mark Cuban one night. So there's this bar in Miami called Tobacco. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's randomly weird. So it was me and my buddy Tyree. He was my barback at the time there. And Tyree, he was a ex-felon. He spent 22 years in jail, federal prison. So yeah, it was interesting. He was he was an intimidating person, like from afar, but he was a sweetheart when you met him. So me and my buddy Tyree, we walked down to the oldest bar at the time in Miami called Tobacco Road. And we walk in there, and it's an institution, dude. Like Duke Ellington played there back in the days. Like that's how like old this spot was, and like the liquor license was signed by Al Capone. It was the first liquor license in Miami. So it was an institution. We walk in there, and I remember it was 2011 because the Mavericks had beaten the Heat. I think it was game 2. And Mark Cuban, obviously his team beat Miami in Miami, and he was pretty happy. And for some reason, I made fun of one of the Mavericks players. Of course, I would. And he did not take it too keen. Like, he was like, dude, you want to take it outside? I'm like, oh, no, man. Like, he was already had a couple beers. And I'm like, no, man, I'm good. And my buddy Tyree's like, Greg, take a picture, dude. I'm like, I don't think he wants me to take a picture. Take the picture, Greg. I'm okay, man. So there's a picture of my buddy Tyree with Mark Cuban in Miami. I remember, dude, Mark Cuban had someone in his like a little entourage that was a Canucks fan, and the Canucks were the Canucks. Obviously, that year they disappointed and like lost the Stanley Cup, and everyone in Canada rioted, and it was wild. So I saw his Canuck buddy just destroyed there. I'm like, ooh, he has it a little worse than I do.
That was the heartbreaker of a year for Vancouver fans.
Oh.
That was Game 7 too against Boston. Yeah.
Yep. It was man. Poor. I do not envy Canucks fan, dude. I'll tell you that. And that's coming from me. I'm a Marlins fan, dude. Like, and a Dolphins fan, dude. Oh man. No. Yeah, bro. We suck.
Could be worse. Could be the Lions.
Oh, for real. It could be the Lions. You're absolutely right, man. I should feel grateful. That's for sure.
I'm from Detroit, so I'm a Lions fan. Dan, you're from Cleveland.
Yes, I'm a Browns fan.
So we should have a bunch of loser teams, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, basically at this point, unfortunately.
Browns are going to win this year. We got in the bag.
Dude, that's man. All right, I guess I'm betting for the Chiefs this year in that division.
If you weren't in the food and beverage industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
Dude, as soon as I discovered bartending, this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I'll be involved in something with sports, honestly. Like, I'm a big sports junkie. I consume a lot of it too. I can see myself, dude, like I can consume sports all day. I'm one of those regular jock dude. But no, not really, dude. I can get deep in analytics with any sports, but something involving sports, to be honest.
All right, that's fair. I think, I'm an avid basketball, soccer, and hockey fan. I can do something within those sports. I don't really follow football as much as I'd like. What is your favorite sport?
Ooh, so I'm half Dominican and Cuban, so I kind of automatically have to say baseball. But and I love baseball, but the last I'll say 10 years, dude, I've been really, really invested in basketball. Obviously for like the Miami Heat and all of that, and soccer. I'm a Tottenham Hotspurs fan, so don't ask me why, man. It's a long story, but like you should have seen me last year when they made the championship final. Like I'm eating a taco and I'm like losing my mind. People are looking at me crazy. Like, what's wrong with them? And my team made it to the final. They had no idea what I was talking about, why I was so invested in this English soccer team. But yeah, man, I can get pretty involved in them, and just I just love the analytics of it and the history of specifically like soccer and basketball. Like I should love those two sports, dude. I love playing basketball when I was younger. Just love everything about it, man. Like I'm a pretty big a basketball nerd too.
Fair enough. I mean, it's weird not having sports in this time because it's like one of those things, at least for me in my daily schedule, I would literally open up the ESPN app at least 4 times a day, just like check my scores, see what's happening, like the news and shit. And that's one thing I've really missed, like with the COVID outbreak. Is little and minute as that is in like the grand scheme of things, it really messed up my day-to-day flow.
Oh no, yeah, and you're right, man. Like it's not that big of a deal compared to what's happening, but you realize how normal it was, dude. Like with sports, dude, you can get distracted with a lot of things with sports, and I know a lot of people have brought up like a lot of the issues that are being handled right now. You know, when it comes to race, or you know, a lot of the injustice been happening in this country have been amplified because we don't have any sports. And I guess it's good to have that discussion now and focus on that. But it really shows you how important and how big of a part of our lives sports is. But dude, especially here in Vegas, dude, like, you know how much like people, there's a lot of sports gambler out here, dude. And I myself will partake in some wages when it comes to that. So can you imagine, dude, people were betting on table tennis out here, on ping pong, like Russian ping pong. Like they will bet on anything out here. They're looking for anything to bet on, dude. Like those sports books are dire right now. We're waiting for the NBA to start, dude.
Have you bet on any ping pong players yet?
No, man. I thought about it, dude, and I did like a minimal research on it, and then I was like, dude, I don't have a job right now. Let me not even think about this. Like I had to kick it in my head, like, dude, what am I doing, dude? I don't even have a damn job. But dude, I know people that were invested in it, man. They had bookies that were like, yeah, bet on this. I'm like, how do you get this info, dude? Like, it's just, I can't even imagine how much research you gotta do to like just learn about some Russian ping ponger. Like, I don't understand. But man, people are really excited to get sports back going, dude. Some people losing some money. People losing a lot of money, man, without sports.
Have you seen that most recent movie with Adam Sandler where he's addicted to gambling and they're betting in sports?
No, I actually don't know about this. He did a sports gambling movie? It makes sense.
Yeah. It came out on Netflix recently. I want to say earlier this year. Basically, it's about how he's just addicted to gambling, and it's crazy plot twist at the end. It's called Uncut Gems. Super good movie. Highly recommend.
Oh my God, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
That's where he steals Kevin Garnett's ring, or at least he borrows it.
All this gambling on sports reminded me of that movie.
Yep. Dude, that guy, he went hard on that.
Oh yeah, and the ending's it really blows your head off.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like what that movie would be like if instead of betting on basketball, if you see Adam Sandler betting on ping pong championship.
Ping pong. Yo, that will be wild, man. If like, because basketball, I kind of understand, dude. It's a pretty big sport. People like can relate to it, you know. They're like, oh, okay, I can see a bad beat happening here, but ping pong, dude. You imagine you're spending like a fortune on. Dude, I can't even comprehend that. Like, do you imagine someone in COVID loses it all even more because he bet on ping pong? Like, that's wild, dude. You definitely don't do it, dude. Just don't. I recommend people not to do it. You should see out here during March Madness, dude. Like you have people, like a game will end and people are cheering and there's some people crushed, and you're like, wow, look at the range of emotions here. Like, it's high here for sure.
That would be fun as hell, though, to go to Las Vegas during March Madness. That would be wild.
It's a ton of fun, dude, because out here you have March Madness, St. Patty's Day, and around that time we have a punk rock festival. Punk rock bowling is called, and it's based in downtown Las Vegas. So you can walk to like the local pizza shop and they have a punk band playing in the back. So it's pretty cool.
Shit. Definitely got to go during March.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
So you're a sports junkie, and the first team to reside in Las Vegas is the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Have you been to any games?
Yes, I have. I actually went for the first time recently. It's actually a hard ticket to get out here, man. Like Golden Knights tickets are tough to get, and they sold out every single home game they played in there. So that tells you one thing, man. We're true sports fans out here, dude. We care about that team. But when I went to the stadium, man, I'll tell you one thing, dude. Like, it's the best in stadium entertainment I've seen anywhere. Like, it was pretty impressive. Like, they had like a Cirque du Soleil show out there pre-game. They have like when I went, they were playing the Kings, so they had like this medieval king and knights just fighting against each other. I'm like, what is the production of this? Like, can I nominate this for an Emmy or something? Like, this is pretty awesome. And it was so funny. Like, during like sports events, they'll do like giveaways for random guests in the stands. They did that with like a giant bottle of champagne out here, and Tiesto was like giving it to this random guy. And I'm like, oh, look, international EDM DJ Tiesto. Like, how much did they pay him to do this? Dude, I honestly imagine someone calling Tiesto, like, Tiesto, we need you at the T-Mobile Arena. We need you to do this promo. And he's like, oh, was this in my contract? Like, I could just imagine him being pissed off over this shit. You saw Tiesto just nonchalantly just giant a massive bottle of champagne to some random dude.
Dude, that is so cool. I'm wearing a Las Vegas Knights hat right now. Like I said, I'm a big hockey fan. Yeah, so
dude, we're pretty heavy fans too, man. Like, we got a nice little rivalry against the San Jose Sharks, dude, and it's not fun, man. Like, I have a buddy that came into one of our local bars with like all Sharks gear, dude, and he got booed immediately as he walked in. I'm like, man, they were ruthless out here, dude. Oh, shit.
Hey, man, I mean, it's got to happen. They've met in the playoffs, I think, 2 years in a row. So, yeah.
Oh, dude, last year was like the biggest heartbreaking loss ever, man. It was brutal, but man, that rivalry is strong now.
Do you think that other sports teams are going to migrate to Las Vegas?
Well, man, there's opportunities for them, man. Like that, the stadium where the Golden Knights play is NBA, NHL level arena. Like, it's state of the art at the T-Mobile Arena. So you can absolutely have a basketball team. And I think, man, with the amount of people that we get traveling to Vegas, you can absolutely support that. One dude, I honestly think if you're bringing an MLB team here, even though it's in the desert and it's really hot, it might work, dude. We have a AAA team out here. They're the Aviators. They're the affiliate for the Oakland A's. And dude, they had more attendance than the Miami Marlins, which, I mean, it's not saying much, but it's a AAA team, dude. Like, it's a nice stadium out in Summerlin, and it's an awesome time, dude. I saw Edwin Jackson get rocked there by Mike Trout's backup in AAA, dude. I'm like, ooh, this might be the end of your career, dude. But dude, I honestly think a baseball team will do awesome out of here. Like, people on the West Coast, and I mean, I'm from Florida, dude. In Florida, I mean, people don't really like baseball like that, dude. But I came out here and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Dodgers fans out here, and I did not know Dodgers fans were that like just invested in their team. I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of like this. But man, there's a lot of baseball fans out here for sure.
That's something that I would not expect, honestly. But hey, I mean, that's even better than for the city, right?
I know, dude. I know. I wouldn't expect it either, dude. It's hot as hell out here. Like, if I'm playing the outfield, man, I do not want to be standing around all of that. But yeah, no, man. When it's 109, you stand. Nah, bro, I'll be pissed off. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to play this. But dude, to be honest though, we've been getting a lot of rumors of where they might build the stadium, and so let's see, man. Hopefully in the next 3 to 4 years.
Maybe if you had a baseball field and you just put a really, really big tarp over it for shade.
Right. That's when they've been talking about it. They might have to do that, man, to be honest.
Get a dome like Toronto.
Oh yeah, like what's it called in Toronto? The Rogers Center? No,
I can't remember where the Jays play. I can't remember.
They'll have to do something like that, to be honest. But it'll be cool, man. I'd love to see a baseball team out here.
Man, I was up in Toronto. I literally went to that stadium like 4 years ago. I can't believe I can't remember that.
Dude, we
Unfortunate.
change their names all the time, man. It's all good.
That's true. Moving on now. What is something that you failed at in your career and later overcame?
I feel, dude, just being organized, dude. I'm not gonna lie, man. I can be pretty lazy all the time. So the last couple of years, man, running Oak and Ivy has helped me out. Just kind of prioritizing certain things, especially like personally too, like my health. I'm trying to make sure I'm eating cleaner. I've been eating a lot cleaner than I used to be. Putting in perspective my mental health, I wasn't super great at that, to be honest. I'll be one of those person where I'm like, nah, let's push through and keep on working and working and working and stacking up. So more conscious, definitely. I would say I failed at that, man, before. Like personally, oh yeah, man, I wasn't eating super clean. I was drinking way too much. Wasn't taking care of myself physically. So it's just making sure I have a routine of waking up, eating like nice and healthy throughout the day, just exercising, especially now. Like there's a lot of people cooped up in their houses. They can't go anywhere. So just maintaining a little bit of a routine. I would even say, man, during COVID, I've been more diligent about it too, trying to stay more on top of it, trying to take care of myself more, try to drink a little less. So in general in the industry, man, I do feel like a lot of us do fail when it comes to our mental health and personally taking care of ourselves. Because there's a lot going on, honestly. There really is a lot going on. And just, I always tell all my friends to just stay aware of everything you consume throughout social media, TV. There's a lot of negative stuff happening. So just being in control of your emotions. I would say, man, I've kind of overcome that, man. Like I've become a little bit more responsible with my personal health and mental health.
Congrats, man. I'm glad to hear that. And it's really empowering
Thank
to
you,
hear
man.
that people are taking the right steps even in these dire times that we're in right now. So I'm glad to hear that, man. All the power to you.
Absolutely, dude. And it's been tough, dude. Like there's a lot of people that this has not been good, dude. So just man, go out for a little bit of a run, go do some push-ups, listen to hype yourself up, get something done, like exercise wise, go get some sun outside. Like it'll get you in a better mood. And I know sometimes people wake up and just be in a morass. They're like, oh, everything hurts. I can't do anything. I'm going back to it. So just motivate yourself. It's really hard to stay motivated, but just trying to find a little pebble of it, man, just to get you going.
Do you think that the bar industry, being that you guys work weird hours, or that it's part of the job almost, maybe not for you, but at most bars, it's almost accustomed to bartenders drinking with patrons and just like the lifestyle in general. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
think that is not helpful to living a relatively healthy lifestyle?
It's not the most conducive to a healthy lifestyle for sure. Especially like obviously the drinking doesn't help and whatnot, but like the times you're functioning. That's another thing within like a bartending and with COVID, man. A lot of us work, like we sleep during the day, man, and we're up at night. So even trying to create a new routine with that, man, it's incredibly difficult to some people, dude. Some people just they've been doing it for so long. Dude, there's some bartenders on the strip that have been working the same shift. Let's just say a swing shift, 5 to midnight, 5 to 1, or midnight, or graveyards, 1 to 9 a.m. for like 20 years. And now all of a sudden that's changed. So it's tough when it comes to that. I do feel like, yes, the industry, it can be pretty abusive, to be quite honest, like especially with drinks. Like you can lose count of how many drinks you have, and sometimes throughout the whole night you have 1, 2, 3, and if you think about it, man, you'll have like 15 drinks throughout the whole week, sometimes even more. So I do think, especially now, like the last couple of years, there've been a massive initiative in trying to even on just mental health, trying to stay on top of that, just trying to have control of your environment. Take a vacation. We as bartenders, we don't take vacations, dude. Even like as myself, I've done a little bit of traveling last year for like cocktail competitions and like cocktail seminars throughout the whole country. And I've met a lot of people that go to a lot of these things, dude. And it's tough, man. You're traveling all the time, and the travel can take a toll on you, dude. So even while you're traveling, people think you're on vacation. You're not, man. You're constantly just thinking about different things with work. If you're in a cocktail competition, you're really focused on that, because that can mean a lot of things if you win. If you're in a cocktail seminar, you're learning about certain things you want to implement to work. So, man, just the fact that a bartender can take a vacation, go take your vacation without thinking about anything. We work a lot in this industry, and we're workaholics to the point where, like, now that we don't have any work, we can lose a little bit of our identity. So I know for me personally too, man, like I've struggled just to do things outside of like my personal profession, because that's all I do most of the time. So without having that type of work, it just forces me to show interest in other things I've put on the back burner.
Is there any advice you like to give to anyone that wants to get into the industry?
One advice I always like to tell people is don't waste your money on bartending school. In general, buy a couple books and read them. You can learn as much through that than bartending school, to be honest. And if you're going to become a bartender, man, listen, people tell me you must make a ton of money. I'm like, nah, man, this is a passion, dude. Like, I'm not making $1 zillion doing this, you know? I'm doing this because I can live comfortably by doing something that I'm very passionate about. So I tell people, if you like bartending, man, make sure you consume, because there's a lot of people that they're in other professions and they're not necessarily happy either through there, dude. So they might find a keen interest to bartending or cocktails in general. And I tell them, dude, like, just dive in deep, see if you like this, like really do your research and start from the bottom and work yourself up. But I tell people, this is not an industry where you can just, oh, I want to be a bartender. Oh, I'm going to work in like the most popular cocktail bar in the city. Nah, dude, like these places are tight-knit groups. They don't necessarily let everyone in there. So it's a hustle, dude. You really got to grind out to have your name out there. And as a bartender, you have to have your name out there, man. That's the only way you're going to make money. If you have a nice little following of people all the time are like, oh man, Greg is working over here, let's go visit him. That's like an extra $50, $100 in there. And that makes a difference, to be honest. So it's be passionate about it, man. Love this shit. If you really love this shit, get to it. Like, learn how to do these things properly. Like, find a mentor. It's not easy finding a mentor, man. Like, I personally I've never had a mentor. I'm pretty self-taught. Like, the only mentors I consider are people that I very passionate about and that I really admire within the industry. And I'll just obsessively like just stalk their Instagram page or the website and be like, all right, what can I learn from these people? But be passionate, man. Just be incredible. Like, I'm very passionate about it. And I love the industry. Like, I want to be that old curmudgeon bartender like in his fucking 80s that owns a bar. Dude, I've had this idea of owning a bar called Old Fashioned and be like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld and be like, no, always sells old fashions, bro. Don't come in here ordering like a Manhattan or a margarita. Nah, man. Get out of here. And I'll open whenever I want to open it. That's me, man. I'm a lifer when it comes to this thing.
That's sweet. Hell yeah. And I like that idea as well. Old fashioned. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, bro. Old fashioned bar. I open it whenever I'm waking up, baby. I'll bartend that sucker by myself.
I love that. Is there any one particular reason that you see other restaurants fail, or maybe not restaurants, or just like bartenders, or pretty much anything in the bar scene?
Well, a lot of it is just a lack of research, honestly. You could do a little bit of research and implement certain systems in a bar or restaurant that will be beneficial. Like, an example would be learning spreadsheets. Like, during COVID, during this time that I haven't been working, I've been trying to find other skills that I can get better at. One of them is just spreadsheets with Google Sheets and knowing your cost for like your drinks. How much are you charging? Do you know how much you should be charging? You know, what's a good cost percentage for each drink, and having an accurate inventory. So I know a lot of businesses and restaurants, they're not on top of that, man. And they're kind of freeballing it, to be honest. And like, it's an example that you see in other cities and states like Nevada, like in Las Vegas, it's pretty professional. There's a lot of people that've been in the industry forever. So you don't necessarily see that everywhere. But I'll tell you, man, like I'm one of those dudes. If I go to that's the one thing about like casinos or cocktail bars or restaurant, I'm like inside of my head already like thinking about, oh, they could have done this a little bit better, or this person could have dropped the menu a little. It's little things that I put in my head, and I'm nitpicking there. But there's some places that I'll go in and I'll be like, oh man, these guys don't know what they're doing. But just staying on top of it, just know what you're doing, man. Know your costs, know your numbers, see what work. Go to a different bar, man. See how they do their service and why they're popular. And at the end of the day, it's just service. If you have great service and an awesome understanding of your guests, you got to know your guests to be good at servicing. You'll be successful. And a lot of people just don't have either that experience with the guests on how to handle it. It can be intimidating, man, if you're talking to a stranger. And now we're talking about what you're going to eat and drink, and they're leaving that responsibility to you. It can be overwhelming to some people. So it's good to have a good management that knows how to handle their guests, knows what proper service means and how it looks like. How can they teach that in an effective and easy way to their staff? And is their staff retaining all this information? So there's definitely a lot of opportunities to learn just by managing on the floor and seeing your service process. But knowing your guests and knowing your numbers, man, that's gonna make you succeed. No matter what type of establishment you got, man. No matter what type of service business you got going on. It doesn't even have to be like food and beverage. Any type of service industry, you can learn by knowing your guests and knowing the numbers.
Have you considered doing consulting, or basically consulting, brand therapy?
I like to say I'm not that good at it because I've never done it, to be honest. I've had some people reach out to me and be like, dude, I want you to consult this and that. I've never particularly done it, but I feel like I could be pretty good at it. I don't know. I feel like I'll have pretty good ideas of what might work and what not. I don't know. I've never built my own bar myself, but I could figure that out. And when it comes to brands specifically, I'll get some work from brands. They want me to create a specific cocktail, or like they want me to answer any questions when it comes to that. I think I do a pretty good job with that. Brand development, I think it's pretty cool. I think I know what my guest wants to listen from me, or how I want to express myself, honestly. But never done consulting, to be honest. No, I've never done it.
All right, well, that's something you might need to look into, because I think you got a pretty good eye for it, and from what it sounds like is you got a pretty good grasp on the number side of it as well, which I think that's a pretty valuable skill in the industry.
It is, man. It is, dude. I was watching Bar Rescue yesterday. For some reason, it was on the TV, and that was I kind of figured out, like, man, this guy just goes in there and be like, "Do you know your cost?" "No." "Well, get out of here!" And just figures out the cost, buy some new stuff, and bounce. And I'm like, I think I could do that, bro. Like, that doesn't look that hard. I'm like, damn, dude, why does John Taffer got to get all this money? I want some of this money.
Where does the name Oak and Ivy come from?
So Oak and Ivy, actually Oak, because we're an American whiskey bar. So obviously American whiskeys and bourbon in particular are traditionally aged. And bourbon, they're always aged in brand new American oak. And the Ivy part is there's a slogan that we have, which is pick your poison. So obviously alcohol is poison, we all know that, but the most delicious one out of all of them. And so we try to pick your poison. What poison do you want me to libate? So oak from whiskey, Ivy from booze.
Right on. And you guys were featured last year as a top 50 whiskey bar in the US, so I think the name fits pretty well. Would you say most of the drinks served are focused around whiskey, or can anybody get anything really? So,
and you can get anything, man. A lot of people, we've been really lucky to get that award, honestly. Like it's been pretty surprising how many people have embraced that. Like as a staff, we're not the one to be like super outgoing when it comes to awards. We're like, yeah, man, we know we're good. But this one in particular, man, like we're ranked number 2 in the US. So it for me personally caught me by surprise. I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And like our guests really embraced that. That was the cool thing about it, because it felt like it wasn't an award for us, but like our guests felt really proud of it. They were all like, oh no, that's my bar. Like I go to Oak and Ivy, and I love the fact that they're the number 2. They'll brag about us, dude, everywhere. It's like we have our own little fan club, dude. And it's super cool, man, because it's just a lot of cool people that really love the experience to get there. Because it's not like the aviary in Chicago. Like, it's not gonna be something like, wow, this is the most craziest drink I've ever seen ever. But it's just a cool, fun spot where you can go chit chat with your friends, bring over. The cocktails are gonna be great. We care about it. And dude, I tell people all the time, man, like I'm just good at talking shit and following directions, dude. That's about it, man. So people have a ton of fun, but people really embrace that award. And yeah, man, it was pretty cool. Like it was pretty awesome to see Yelp, because that's the other thing, man. It was our guest. We got the award for our reviews. And I know a lot of people there's a lot of negative stuff that said about Yelp, but the way I see it is, man, like we rarely get a bad review, and we just know we're good at servicing. We care about our guests, and we know how to take care of our guests, man. And they showed all the love to us.
Right on, and congrats on the award. That's pretty high honor.
Thank you, man. It really was, dude. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna move on to some off-topic questions, some fun questions as we start to wind down the show here. First one I got for you is, what's your favorite hometown restaurant?
Ooh, like here in Vegas? Ooh.
No, well, honestly, in Vegas or Miami, or both, whatever.
So in Miami, I always like to say, man, like whenever I go back to Miami, actually, there's two spots I recommend. One of them, you get out of the airport, you got to go to Versailles. Versailles is like the old school, classic Cuban cafeteria, dude. Like you can go there, get a Cuban sandwich, get some Cuban pastries, the famous Cuban coffee. You can get it from the little cafeteria window there. Like they have this classic uniform that they used to use back in the 70s when they opened. And it's like the hub. Like whenever there is something going on in Cuba, bro, you go there, man, you had Cubans with their flags out there, just discussing politics. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird, man. This is awesome. That's one spot I like to tell people to go. Another spot, I used to work in this Italian restaurant called MC Kitchen with Chef Dina Marino. That now she's a LeBron James chef. I know. I'm name dropping right there. But she's probably the best Italian food I've had. It was a casual fine dining spot. But man, incredible food, awesome bar to go sit and eat food. The food is incredible. Like there's some awesome spots here in Vegas, but that spot was awesome. Here in Vegas, so if you come here in Vegas, man, you got to go to Chinatown and get some pho. So this is a spot called Pho Kim Long. and it's the spot. I don't know if you guys are familiar with pho, but it's like a Vietnamese rice noodle soup. That's incredible. It's herbaceous. It's like chicken noodle soup, but like really herbaceous and awesome for a hangover or for when you're still drunk. And this spot is rent smack in the middle of Chinatown. It's open 24 hours, and I've never seen it. Well, I've seen it then now with COVID, but before all of this, dude, you will literally go there anytime during the day. There's always a 20-minute wait. Like I've been there 1 a.m, 6 a.m, 3 in the afternoon, like 10 o'clock at night. Always packed. People getting that pho, dude. That spot is one awesome little spot. Another spot I recommend people to go, and it's in the art district, is Esther's Kitchen. It's also is a local Italian restaurant opened by Chef James Tree, and they have nice little like just casual Italian food with a great Amaro selection behind the bar. Very approachable wine list. And this spot it's become a kind of a local favorite within Las Vegas because it's always packed. Great brunch. If you see me in there, man, you'll see me with a glass of Lambrusco on there, eating some pancakes, some eggs Benedict, but awesome little spot. That cool little spot right there. Yeah, those are two really local spots people like to enjoy and go. So I definitely recommend those two.
That sounds delicious. It makes a perfect segue for the next question. Do you have any ghost stories of Oak and Ivy?
Ghost stories? I don't, but I'm trying to think because there's been some wacky stuff that's happened at that bar. Ooh. I remember when there was an earthquake last year. I remember I was behind the bar during the earthquake, and it was a little wacky, dude. This is like the biggest earthquake that I was a part. Because all of a sudden I feel like, man, am I drunk right now? Like I haven't been drinking. What's happening? Everything is moving. And like our guests are like freaking out a little bit, and then it stopped. And I'm like, I guess we're okay to start drinking again, guys. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I got to experience an earthquake there. That's about it. I never had a crazy ghost story there. I'm going to have to ask the bartenders to see if they've had.
Well, that's good. Have you ever had like any personal ghost stories?
No, man, not really. I did have like a little UFO encounter, but to be honest, man, I was thinking about this recently, and I was like, nah, that wasn't a UFO. But it was when I was growing up, I was born in Miami, and I grew up in Dominican Republic. And I remember once, dude, I was on the roof of my house, and my dad has just bought a telescope, dude. And I lived in a little bit of a rural part of the city of Santo Domingo, so you could really see the stars out there. Like, it was beautiful. And I have this crazy uncle. Everyone has a crazy uncle. That he joined us upstairs. Mind you, like, Dominican Republic is one of these countries where the power will go out all the time. Like, it's a poor country, but so we had no power. So imagine just clear, beautiful skies. You can see all these stars. And all of a sudden, my uncle starts freaking out. Look at that star, dude. It's going straight vertically up, man. That's a UFO. And we're all freaking out like, oh, that's a UFO, dude. But now thinking about it, man, I'm like, man, I was like 13, dude. That was no UFO, bro. Probably some plane. But I don't know, man. That's the closest thing I got. I've never really believed in ghosts. I know, man, coming from a Hispanic family, like my mom definitely does. She's like, she feels spirits and whatnot. So my mom, come on now. I don't know, but not really. I haven't really had a personal ghost story.
I guess that's a good thing then, huh? Yeah, it's a good, yeah.
Yeah, right? I don't want to get sleep paralysis and have someone haunt me, man. That doesn't sound like fun.
Sleep paralysis is like the scariest shit. It's never happened to me, but like I've seen videos on it and it does not look fun.
Dude, I know people that, like, they'll tell me, like, dude, I dream some that's one thing I can believe. If you're dreaming some wacky stuff, that for sure can happen. Like, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And I know people that have sleep paralysis, and they're like, dude, I've seen some crazy stuff in my dreams. I'm like, I don't want to know, man. That sounds like a horror story right there, dude. You need to call Jordan Peele. You need to write a movie.
For real. Do you believe in a hangover recipe?
Ooh, yes. Dude, honestly, man, hangover recipe, just get a Pedialyte, baby. Pedialyte would do it. We had Pedialyte drop off free bags of like Pedialyte for the longest at Oak and Ivy, and we'll give them out to guests, dude. Like, man, it's a desert out there. Go drink some Pedialyte. Yeah, that's about it, man. I know some people that'll do a michelada out here. That's a big like hangover, hair of the dog thing out here. A michelada with a little beer, some tomato juice, and some clamato. But for me, man, I'll wake up, give me some Pedialyte. There's some water. Let me chug some water down. Thankfully, those days of me getting incredibly hungover ended last year. But yeah, man, I try to not try to get a shit face as I can anymore. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. But yeah, a little Pedialyte, bro, that'll get you a long way.
Yeah, that's my go-to every time. Just Pedialyte before you go to bed or in the morning. So I totally feel that.
Oh yeah. Hey, I got a question for you guys. What part of Ohio are you guys from?
So I'm from the Cleveland area, but we're currently in Toledo.
Dude, so you've probably heard of this bar called Porco. It's a tiki bar in Cleveland.
It rings a bell.
Look it up, man. It's one of my favorite tiki bars in the country, and they do an awesome job, dude. I got to meet them in New York, and it was like, oh man, you guys are awesome. Like, I gotta recommend anyone in Ohio to go check you guys out.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. The only bigger bar I've been to in Cleveland is they have a really good chocolate bar. But other than that, I haven't been to any Cleveland bars. Yeah, they have like chocolate straws. It's really cool.
Chocolate straw. Oh man, you made a mistake now, dude. I'm gonna deep dive this spot and be like, how can I make my own chocolate straws?
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, next time we go to Cleveland, definitely gotta check out Porco Lounge and Tiki Bar. That sounds awesome. What would you say is the most thrill-seeking thing that you've ever done?
Ooh, thrill-seeking thing. Shit, I mean, other than playing football or hitting a home run, that was pretty fucking thrill-seeking. Hitting a dinger. I used to play a lot of baseball. Dude, you know what, man? I've been drifting before with like some friends of mine from Miami, and that's pretty fucking awesome, dude. That's awesome. Just driving a really fast car is something else for sure. You know what, man? Recently, I went on I've been cycling a lot recently, and me and a good buddy of mine, Chris Gutierrez, shout out to Tater, he took me on this 30-mile trail through the wetlands. It's like this park out here in Vegas, but they have some gnarly hills where you're going up and down and you're going pretty fast. I thought that was pretty cool, dude. And if you're not ready for that type of ride, man, that will kick your ass, dude. Going up and down those hills, like it was pretty fucking awesome. I needed that, honestly. I think everyone should get that little adrenaline flow every once in a while, like at least 2-3 times a year. Just, man, go bungee jumping or something.
Yeah, I feel that. And mountain biking is no joke. My roommate is really big into it, and he shows me like some of the trails and shit that he rides, and I'm like, no way, man. Like, it just looks scary as all hell. I'm sure it's fun as fuck, but yeah, not for me personally.
It is, but there's definitely like there's a moment of truth where you're like, all right, I just got to go and just trust everything. And it's scary, man, for sure, dude. There must be some awesome trails out in Ohio, some mountain biking trails.
Oh yeah, there's some good ones around here, and in Pennsylvania too.
Dude, you know what's something that was thrill seeking? I did like quite a few years back. Whitewater rafting. That was actually a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. That was pretty thrill seeking too, man. Like whitewater rafting is next level, and that gets your blood flowing, dude, for sure.
Do you know what levels they were?
So we did because they go from 1 to 5 or whatnot. We did a couple 4s and a 5. The 5 one was pretty intense, dude, but it was a lot of fun, dude. It really was. I was surprised how fun it was, and I didn't think I was gonna like it, to be honest. But man, I've never done it again, actually, and I've always wanted to do it. Vegas actually, I've been kayaking out here in Vegas, but the cool thing about Vegas, you're surrounded by awesome states with great national parks, so you could get that opportunity to go whitewater rafting other places out here.
Yeah, I've only done up to level 3, and I was really young at the time. I was maybe 10 years old, so it felt like level 5. So it was pretty terrifying. Now that I'm bigger, I might.
It really is. Especially the instructor telling you, like, oh, you got to do this, if not the boat, like the raft will flip. I'm like, oh no, man, we're not flipping.
Yeah.
Dude, I once went canoeing in Florida, and the river, like this river had like gators in there, man. And I flipped my canoe, dude, and I've never had a sense of panic like I had that time, bro. I'm like, no, we got to get out of here now. That was gnarly, dude. Oh no.
Because you see all the small alligators up top, and all the bigger ones are chilling out in the bottom.
Dude, they're deep down there. They'll snatch you, dude. There's some big ones in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Where is one place that you'd like to go in the near future?
I've never been to Puerto Rico. I want to go really bad to Puerto Rico, and I have a lot of friends that live out there. But everyone that I talk to that tell me about Puerto Rico, they're like, oh, that's home. It's like kind of like Hawaii. Everyone that I talk to that tells me about Hawaii, they're like, oh, it's home. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, dude, it's unlike anything else. But Puerto Rico is definitely one of them. I've been wanting to go check that out for the longest time. And they have some super rad cocktail bars out there.
Nice.
Sounds like a nice trip right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you have any other final thoughts you'd like to say before we start to close things up?
Man, just to with everything opening up, I do want to tell anyone that listens that maybe they're not in the industry and whatnot, just be a little bit more compassionate to your local restaurant staffs and whatnot. It's for a lot of them. Like for me personally, I don't care, man. Bring it. Like I'm ready for all of this. But there's a lot of people that are a little stressed out with everyone's happening around here. So just be a little kinder, your bartender, man. Be a little bit more understanding. I'm definitely not the person to do that. I'm always like, yo, you got to be good at your job all the time. But now, yeah, man. I think people should chill out a little bit. Be more compassionate in general. Like a lot of people don't want to wear their mask, but it's like, oh, come on, man. Like we should. Everything's just opened up, man. Just wear your mask and just compromise for a little bit for the good of everything, and just be a little bit more kinder to your guests, to your serving staff.
And I'll second that. So I always try to be as nice as I can if it's to my bartender or waiter or whatever, because just growing up, my dad is the worst. So he'll just just nag his butt off and just complain and say that this food was microwaved for too long. And so I always make sure to be the opposite of my dad. Hope he's not listening.
I feel you, man. My mother, dude, can be a handful too in restaurants, and like for sure. And to be frank, like I do think they got to do a good job. Don't get me wrong, but there are certain things that people nitpick, and it's like, bro, let's relax right now. Let's relax. So, like, it just be grateful that you're outside and enjoying like an awesome cocktail. Because, dude, we're a tiny bar. Like, even at oak&ivy, we'll see it. It's a tiny bar, and people are expecting to sit at the bar. And when we were open, we removed all of our seats. So it was only outside patio service. And there were like some people got a little frustrated behind that. And I'm like, dude, what? It's not that hard to understand what's happening, you know? So let's be a little more understanding. Yeah, you're right, man. You're definitely right.
Thanks for coming on the show, Greg. It's been a pleasure. And where can people find you on social media?
So Twitter and Instagram, Gregory RRE. Go follow me over there. I have a pretty epic beard, and if I get to 1,000 followers before I go back to work, I'm shaving it off. So.
Nice.
Awesome.
And thank you guys so much, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, this is a great time, man.
All right, After Hours Nation, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to stay updated, you can check out our site at afterhourscast.com. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday morning for our next episode. After Hours Nation, stay thirsty, my friends.